Hey, it's Maximo and welcome to Maximo's Travels. This is our last couple of days in Japan and we head to Tokyo from Osaka via the Shinkansen. We stay in Akihabara, Tokyo's electric town. We check out the anime, both during the day and at night. We have fabulous pasta dishes at a gluten-free restaurant on the outskirts of Akihabara. And we go to an English pub right in the heart of Akihabara. We go off the beaten path and explore Tokyo's riverfront. Jo takes me to Bead Town and she goes on a bead buying extravaganza. Jo finally gets to try a fish-shaped pastry. We have our last meal in Japan at Sushiro, a conveyor belt restaurant. And we head off to Haneda Airport to fly back home. Join me on my last Japanese video. Today was a travel day. We were going from Osaka to Tokyo via the Shinkansen. We checked out of our hotel quite early, just in time to see the Apple Store opening and greeting its customers in the traditional Japanese way. Japan is amazing and never ceases to surprise me. We made our way to Osaka station via the metro just in time to see a Shinkansen arrive. We were travelling from Osaka to Tokyo via the Shinkansen. The tickets cost 4,520 yen each, around about 47 Australian dollars. And the distance was around 500 kilometres between the two major stations. This distance was covered in only 2 hours and 20 minutes. On this trip we decided to go for the basic non-reserve seats. There were plenty of seats available, or at least at Osaka station.
Express bound for Tokyo. We will be stopping at Kyoto, Nagoya, Shin-Yokohama and Shinagawa stations before arriving at Tokyo Terminal.
The Nozomi Super Express Shinkansen was very, very comfortable. There were 5 seats across each row in a 3-2 configuration, but the seats were very comfortable. Plenty of width, a nice tray table, plenty of storage, plenty of leg room. Jo was able to do a fair bit of beading without any trouble whatsoever. The ride was sublimely smooth. You wouldn't realise that you're approaching 300 kilometres an hour on this train. Quite a few empty seats on this train, on this carriage, but if you are travelling during peak times, it would be advisable to get a reserved seat. We were travelling through the most populous part of Japan. It was amazing to see every flat area either taken up by town, industry or agriculture. There wasn't a spare bit of flat land to be seen. And a handy tip, sit on the left hand side of the train for some spectacular views of Mt Fuji, weather permitting. So here we are in Akihabara, and in front of me is Akihabara station, and that is JR East Hotel Nets, which is probably about 10 metres away. And oops, I'm going to get run over. On the first floor there is the hotel reception area. Very, very conveniently located right next door to the station. It was a little bit too early to check into the hotel, so we dropped off our big suitcases and went exploring in the Akihabara area. We stayed at Akihabara because it was close to Tokyo Station and had easy access to the airport as we were going to leave the next day. And also, Akihabara is known as Electric Town, and we wanted to experience some of the sights and sounds of Electric Town and its anime culture. We wandered around Electric Town. Here's a bit of a snapshot of what we saw. I don't think words or music are required. Akihabara Electric Town was huge. It had so many different shops with so many different electronic toys and gadgets and games. It was truly spectacular. Overstimulating, really. We escaped the noise and the hustle and bustle and checked into the hotel. After a bit of a rest, we went out for dinner that evening. For our last night in Japan, Joe had selected a restaurant called Ungluten. This is a specialty gluten-free restaurant that was located a 1 kilometre or 15-minute walk across the other side of the river. So Joe has taken me to a special restaurant that'll be very friendly with my tummy. What's the name of this restaurant, Joe?
Ungluten.
Ungluten.
Or Ungluten.
Right, okay.
In Japanese.
So they specialise in gluten-free pastas, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
So I've ordered the cream sauce spaghetti with mushroom and bacon, and you've gone for the Japanese style spaghetti with mushroom and bacon.
Japanese style things, but we'll find out.
Arigato. And my wine has just arrived, so kanpai. Quite fruity and warm.
Ask red wine should be.
It should, yes. And turn around and there's a lovely sign over there, Joe. Yes. So I've been very interested to see what this is like. Thanks, Joe, for bringing me here. Our last night in Tokyo and Japan. Your Joe, so our meal has arrived.
What do you think this is?
I think that is seaweed. Japanese style. Alright, it's been a while since I've had a pasta.
Me too.
Alright, let's give this a go. This is very, very hot. I think this came out in about less than 5 minutes. Just have the noodles like on standby. I mean, it's got Japanese mushrooms, but
it tastes creamy.
It does taste creamy. It's quite nice. It is quite nice. Do you like yours?
Especially miso.
Miso, in Japanese style.
Different.
The noodles are a different consistency, aren't they?
They're not too bad. They taste quite pasta-like.
They do. I'm enjoying this. It's good. This is a small size, which is big enough, I think. Anyway. Yeah, it was a bit of a trek. I'll leave a map description from where it is from our hotel. It was about a 20-minute walk. It's quite peppery, creamy, bacony and mushroomy. Just a nice bit of a kick.
I wasn't really expecting miso.
Weren't you? What did you expect when it said Japanese style?
Now something a bit more salty. teriyaki.
You had another great meal. Joe's certainly found some hidden gems, haven't you?
Well, if we want to eat together.
Exactly. On that note, cheers everyone. Increasingly, we're finding gluten-free and vegan restaurants in Japan. This one was particularly nice. It was a Monday night and pretty quiet. The restaurant's located in a residential area the other side of the river from Electric Town. I would highly recommend anyone with food allergies to come here. We decided to walk back to Electric Town. We crossed the river and started exploring the nightlife of Akihabara. It was our last night in Tokyo and of our holiday, so we decided to go to an English pub and get some drinks. Okay, Joe, our drinks have arrived.
They have.
And you're at the RC English pub. It looks quite fancy.
Yeah.
The British Tars, Polka.
It looks very much like an English pub. Of sorts.
Of sorts, yeah. Sort of, yeah. I'll spin the camera around and let you have a look here. So
Yeah.
it looks like is it a Edwardian sort of fancy sort of? It's sort of a Edwardian halls.
Old but fancy.
Old but fancy, indeed. Anyway, while we're guest bagging, our drinks are getting
Yeah.
full. So,
Hi.
come by.
What do you think this drink is?
It's
Comment below.
it's huge.
Comment below.
Now tell them what it is. No, let them guess. Let them guess. I'm having a pale ale of some sort.
Let's just say I'm there.
Thank you. Joe's lemon
Yeah.
slicey thing just arrived.
All I can say is that
Is that the biggest gin in time? Oh,
cart. All I can say is that I've never had this drink in a pint mug before.
no, that's huge. I mean, most of that is ice, but still.
Well, you good job.
It's that's a nice drop. That is nice drop. A nice pale ale.
IPA?
No, just a pale ale. The eye is Indian, and in this fancy establishment, there's
No, this sort of reminds me of colonial Indian style as well.
does it?
It's a little bit.
Okay, like the whole high.
The high tea experience.
Yes, yes, sort of.
You know?
Yeah. Anyway, this is our last night
Yep.
in Japan. Our last night's in Tokyo. We fly out tomorrow evening. So this is our last dinner, I think.
Yeah.
Technically, in Tokyo proper, the next
Well,
dinner
yeah.
might be in a hotel lounge or something.
Airport lounge.
Well, airport lounge, thank you. So it's been a very, very enjoyable trip. A bit of craziness,
Craziness, a bit of tranquility, a bit of everything.
nature, high buildings,
A lot of trains.
a lot of trains.
Tours of trains.
Yes, old trains, fast trains.
Slow trains.
Yeah,
All
sorts of trains.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should start a train lovers channel or something.
Should.
I should.
You should do a train video. You want to see a train video?
Yeah, just yeah, Japan's trains.
Not like we've been on all of them, but we've
Been a few. Yeah, I know. Anyway, Kampai, Joe,
Kampai.
and I'll spin this around and let you have a look at our surroundings. Quite impressive, isn't it? Quite fancy. Quite fancy indeed.
The train going past that
And then there's a station virtually just outside our window
eye level.
at eye level. Yeah, so it's very, very unique experience. Very unique. Anyway, this is the RC pub in Tokyo. In what area are we in? I can never pronounce these things.
Akihabara.
Akihabara. Thank you, Joe. We had a couple of drinks in this pub. It was reasonably busy given that it was reasonably late in the evening. We wanted to make the most of our last day in Japan and Tokyo, and we certainly did that. Such a lovely, quaint English pub in a surprising location. It was very, very well done. We thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. We started heading back to the hotel for a well-earned sleep. Along the way, Joe saw a taiyaki store. This is a fish-shaped pastry. She didn't succumb to the temptation of buying one, so we started heading back and eventually got to our hotel. The JR Met's hotel reception on level 1 provided a fantastic vista into the nightlife of Akihabara. It was good just standing at reception and looking down at all the nightlife and people wandering by. The next day was our last day in Japan. Joe wanted to go to Bead Town. It was going to be the last thing that we were going to see before we left for the airport. So we jumped on a train and rode the one stop to Asakusabashi station. This was where Bead Town was centered around. This area is bounded by the Sumida and Kanda Rivers. It's a quaint, old, charming part of Tokyo that I think is not very well visited by foreign tourists. The bead shops weren't open, and we took the opportunity just to wander around the riverfront and check out all the different sights and sounds and river boats. It was 10 a.m. and most of the bead shops should be open. Unfortunately, the first that we went to, the Toho store, looked like it was permanently closed. We did move on to many other bead shops, however. And if you're wondering why go to bead shops, Maximo, well, it's because Jo is a very avid beader. It's her favourite pastime. She's an expert beader. She's won many, many different awards, and her business is to run a bead shop. So it's her passion to come here. And I was happy to come here to see a part of Tokyo that probably not many other foreign tourists would get to see. It's a win-win situation, really. The Miyuki shop had a very wide selection of beads and patterns and all sorts of things over 3 levels. Jo made her purchases and she was very happy about that, very happy indeed. We then proceeded to go to a couple of other bead shops and then slowly head back to the hotel. On our way back to the station, Jo spotted a Taiyaki vendor. She did succumb this time.
It's what? It's custardy.
That's a custard-filled fish thing. It's taken us to the last day of Japan, but you finally got your fish biscuit.
Fish biscuit. I'm sure they're not called fish biscuits.
Fish cake. Custard fish guts.
No, anyway, do you want a coffee?
Yeah, I do want a coffee.
Which one do you want?
The Cafe Olay.
This one?
The Boss, yeah.
Is this cash or... Oh, no.
I've got some cash. My Boss Cafe Olay.
Can we get me a milk tea?
A milk tea?
Mm.
Okay.
It's only £1.10, it's cheap here.
Yeah. Which one? Milk tea? Your Lipton milk tea.
Thank you.
My pleasure. We got the train back to Akihabara and it was our last chance for a little stroll around Tokyo before we had to head to the airport. Akihabara is a fabulous part of Tokyo, especially if you're young and especially if you're into gachapons and anime. It's a fun, lively area. It was time for lunch and I spotted this sushi train, but I was outdone because in the distance, Jo saw a very familiar sign. Sushiro, sushi conveyor belt. I found the stairs that takes us to Sushiro. Oh, they're steep. We are at Sushiro.
Get ticket.
いらっしゃいませ。一番に振り込みがありないけど、お取り前に印字された座席に座席にお進みください。
Well, Jo, we've made it. It's pretty much the end of our holiday. This is our last meal.
It's 4 hours until we head to the airport.
All right,
we're
so
just
we're gonna have
killing a bit of time, having some lunch.
yeah, might have a calming ale.
Ale.
Yes,
What can I get for you?
Yeah, you can get me a calming
Like a
ale.
beverage?
Yes. So we filmed a couple of sushi rolls. I don't think this probably warrants another filming.
No.
Other than to say the next video will be probably us perhaps catching the monorail to the airport.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. We've got to work out how to get to the airport. But anyway, our last meal in Tokyo.
Okay, indeed. Which beer do you want, more importantly?
What?
The small or the large?
At the large
Mug.
mug.
Mug, it's called.
Okay, well, until we meet again. Time passed quickly, but it was soon time to head back to the hotel, collect our bags, and catch 2 trains, a subway and the monorail, out to the airport. We were flying out from Haneda Airport, Tokyo's closest airport. I did a review of this airport and the flight in a previous video. The journey took around 40 minutes and cost 690 yen, about 7 Australian dollars. You've got to hand it to the Japanese. They have very efficient train and public transport systems. It was a breeze getting to the airport.
Haneda Airport Terminal 3, Haneda Airport Terminal 1, and Haneda Airport Terminal 2.
The monorail travels on an elevated track, therefore it gives spectacular views of Tokyo's riverfront and harbour front. That monorail trip was both scenic and memorable. It wasn't long before we got to the last stop and headed towards our terminal. Checking in was a breeze. We had a couple of hours before our scheduled departure, so we decided to have a bit of a look around the terminal. Went onto the observation deck, saw some planes taking off, and got a bite to eat and something to drink in the terminal cafes. We did some last minute duty free shopping before heading over to the lounge and waiting for our departure time. I do hope you've liked this video and our Japanese series. If so, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Hit that notify bell to be notified of my future videos. If you'd like to support this channel, please consider buying me a coffee. Until our next adventure from some far-flung place, you take care and bye now.